know how just because you're black, they think you're a race expert. So that's my credentials. If white privilege is a real thing and gives white guys such a big advantage, why are there still poor white guys? Why is there still poor anyone? You can't even have my opinions. You just can't even spell opinions. Hello, is this thing on? Can anyone hear me? Good. You can be beans on toast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner broke, but still have white privilege. Was that clear enough? No? Let me explain. When we think of privilege, we think of money and lavish lifestyles and exclusive VIP treatment, but privilege doesn't automatically equal wealth. And despite what you might have been told, you can indeed be poor and benefit from white privilege. If you've never had to question whether your name might stop you from getting a call back for an interview or search far and wide for something in nude that actually matches your skin tone, chances are you've got white privilege.
Hello! Welcome to How Not to Be Racist, the game show. The show that white people can turn to when they've used all the tools in their We're Oppressed Too toolbox. Now time for my favorite segment of the show, Who is More Privileged? I'm gonna list 3 different people and I want you to tell me who has more privilege. Number 1, we have Dave, a 65-year-old retired white man who lives in the countryside and fishes for pleasure. Number 2, we have Teddy, a 13-year-old white boy who is actually suffering in school, all because Boris Johnson thought it was okay to give him half a can of tuna for breakfast. And number 3, we have James, a 27-year-old white man working in a top media agency with no past experience, but the video he produced on his gap year. Who is more privileged?
James, because he was able to take a gap year.
But they've retired in an unsteady economy.
I will have you know the correct answer is that they all have the same privilege because at the end of the day, they are, say it with me, 3 white men, yes.
Recently, the government tried to say that the poor educational outcomes of white working class students was the result of learning about white privilege in schools. That's just not how white privilege works. Being poor is being poor. It makes life full of challenges, whatever your color. But it's almost certain that a poor white person won't be othered, judged, discriminated against, stopped in search, educationally failed, economically disadvantaged, or followed around stores simply because they're white. Whiteness is the default, which in itself is a privilege.
So would you say that you believe in white privilege?
I definitely believe in white privilege.
Yeah, 100%.
It's sad to say that people are more sympathetic to the people that look like them.
Me as a woman, as a black woman, if a white woman stands next to me today and we're applying for the same job, we have the same education, we have the same background, everything, trust me, that girl's gonna get that job.
As much as I hate to say it, I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately.
You can be privileged in certain ways when you are poor, but then also you're not privileged because you're also broke. So,
unfortunately, if you're black and poor, you're gonna have to be fighting 2 battles and you're gonna have to be fighting the police at the same time. But you can be white and poor and just be fighting yourself.
A lot of times people find it really difficult to recognize that the life that they're experiencing is white privilege because, you know, they're not happy or this, that or the other.
And if you don't recognize it, then that's part of the problem.
The same way being poor doesn't void white privilege, being black and rich isn't the antidote for racism. Sorry, P. Diddy. Being a millionaire didn't stop Serena from coming face to face with the realities of systemic bigotry. The biases are so deep, you can't just throw money at the problem. And breaking down the century-long systemic barriers faced by black and brown people definitely doesn't mean putting up barriers for our white counterparts. Believe it or not, you can fight against racism and poverty without the two cancelling each other out. Crazy. Did I lie or did I lie? Sorry.
You know that's gonna get